I'm president of the National Youth Council of Macedonia, young activist from Skopje. I'm active in the NGO sector, maybe in the youth sector, maybe more than 9.5, 10 years, almost 10.5 years. What else? 27-year-old. I'm also a local councillor in my municipality, in George Petrov, in the west side of Skopje. And I think it's enough for now. If you want to know something more, you can ask me. I'm here.
Nice. Okay, thank you, Bojan. Anya, sorry, Josip. It's like, let's go like this. Okay, Anya.
Let's go from south to the north.
Directly. Yes, directly. Somebody is watching news on the TV. Yes. Anya, can you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Anya Fortuna. I'm also the president of the National Youth Council of Slovenia. I've been active in the NGO sector for also around 10 years and many different organizations, but my background organization and let's say my main organization is Slovenian Rural Youth. So I've been dealing with the topic of young people living in rural areas for most of my NGO life.
Thank you, Anya. And Josip?
Hello, everyone. My name is Josip. I am president of the Croatian Youth Network, which is acting as the National Youth Council, although there is no such, officially there is no such thing in Croatia because there is no law that says who is or what is Croatian Youth Council, what is National Youth Council, but we are the closest thing and to it. So yeah, we all treat ourselves as a National Youth Council. I'm not active as long as my colleagues tonight, maybe 4 years most. Yeah, and before I was working I was volunteering in a lot of different activist organizations, especially working with asylum seekers and stuff like that. And yeah, I've been president for the almost 3 years.
Thank you very much for your, firstly, that you accepted our invitation to be this evening with us, and I'm very pleased because I'm very sure that we should raise the visibility of the importance and work of National Youth Councils. I am really strong support as a youth worker on the National Youth Councils. So one of the reasons, just before we to start, why we decided to make this online discussion is because we want to put young people in the focus of the discussion. Maybe it's online, but we raise the visibility of our discussion, and we are seeing that young people are having voice. And regarding the articulation of the voice of young people, we need National Youth Council. So therefore we have this idea and this discussion together with you. It was important for us to talk together with different young people, particularly presidents of the National Youth Councils from the region, because it's very similar how the processes are developing during this, let's say, coronavirus crisis in all countries. So officially I'm starting the discussion. I just want to be mentioned several technical elements. So during our discussion, all people can be involved, and I want all people to have freedom to be involved during the discussion. Just please mute your microphones during we are speaking here in the focus, and when you want to be involved in the discussion, announce to Anelia, but raising hands or write to her or write directly in the mutual chat that you want to ask something or you want to add something, and everybody will be involved in the discussion. So the topic of this, and one more thing, sorry, I will forget, we have decided, I hope that our guests will not, they will support us in this, to record this discussion, because a lot of people around us wrote us that they are not able to be part this evening with us. So tomorrow we will publish the discussion in order for all young people to be able to to listen what we have discussed and talk this evening. It's okay for you, I hope, Josip, Anya, and Bojan.
Yes, it's fine.
Super, super. So officially, we want to talk this evening about how does coronavirus crisis affect the young people in the region. And definitely, I think that the young people are one of the most affected demographic, most affected part of the population of this coronavirus, of this crisis. So as a first subtopic, we have agreed several minutes ago, we to start about the main challenges or key challenges of the young people in the region, particularly during this, let's say, famously COVID-19 period. So I would like to start with Bojan, because he is from North Macedonia and he is the closest to our audience this evening. So Bojan, can I kindly ask you to share with us what is your opinion and in general about the opinion of National Youth Council about key challenges that young people are facing during this crisis?
Okay, hi to all again. I think thank you for all being here and taking from your free time to be part of this discussion. Hi to our guests Anya and Josip again. So thanks for the invitation and for having me here talking about this serious issue in these very, very hard times, I must say. So it's fact the unemployment and mental health are going to be one of the most important things at this moment, but we also must not forget the education. Even great challenge for us like young people, we must take that social distance, because in our nature is to have physical contact with the others, to share experience and information with the others, to be outside in the nature with the others. So this is very important for the part of the mental health. When unfortunately the psychologists predict increased number of causes of anxiety and other disorders of the mental health. So the other thing is unemployment. It's a very huge and big issue. It's a big issue with or without the corona crisis. As we know, the economic situation in the region, even in the Balkan and the whole region, that how many people just young person migrate for better life, and they are somewhere in the different European countries and all the world to find better life. As we know, the better life is not always a higher salary. It also means social security, inclusion, trust in the institution, and trusting the system. I must say that very small numbers and statistics are in the public for how many people are now outside from their jobs from the corona crisis, and because of that. So we have experience with the National Agency for Employment, and I'm sad for that they don't have very good statistic and good numbers, even without corona crisis. Now when we are in the crisis, they are not so excellent with the statistic. So I must say that we are missing many numbers, statistics, and information about how many young people lose their jobs or what's happened with them when they're out of the jobs. So it's very interesting that the government don't take big steps for information, give us information for employing or not employing the young people during the crisis. And I think that it's gonna be huge crisis after this, that if we stay like this without something directly for helping the young people, we're gonna have again huge migration of young people who will go outside of the country. So we must be prepared first, like country, and the government must be prepared for give the whole citizens good I don't know, good things for finding a ways for have smaller problems in this situation. Other thing is that the home is not always the safe place for all of us. We are witnessing of increased number of cases of domestic violence. The question is how much of them are reported, and we know that we have a lot of cases in the last period, and we must take care of the people who are the young people who are home and they need help for their part of domestic violence. We must not forget the people with disabilities and rare diseases who have a really special way of life.
Okay, something happened, Anelia. We lost the.
I'm here.
Okay,
Can
okay,
you see me?
okay. Continue. Yes.
Yes.
So we must think about the people with disabilities and rare diseases who have a really special way of life. And now in this time, it's very, very hard for them. The government should take care of all homeless people, refugees, and all marginalized groups too in this situation. So I will stop here with these 5-6 things like unemployment, taking care of mental health, taking care of people with disabilities, and other things. So people who are part of domestic violence and refugees and all marginalized groups. Thank you.
Okay, thank you also.
So sorry, I have small issues with my internet. Maybe it's not very excellent, the sound, but I will try to fix it.
Don't worry. Really, it's important that we are here and that we want to talk. The other elements we will fix, don't worry. Okay, let's go to Croatia. Very often, Josip, particularly, I think my generation, I'm very often reading about what is happening with the young people in Croatia and in general, how the measurements are implemented in Croatia. So how is the situation with the young people in Croatia? What are the key challenges in your country? I'm speaking about the young people.
Okay, first of all, thank you, Biljana, and thank you, Anelia, for organizing this and for inviting me, giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of Croatian Youth Network. Challenges are similar to what Bojan said. There is this specific aspect that came with this whole COVID-19 situation. That's, of course, health in general, but then also specifically mental health issues, which is a thing that hasn't been talked a lot in past, and unfortunately still isn't in current situation. Luckily, it seems the situation about COVID is getting better in Croatia, but still we are not addressing as a society, as a key decision makers, especially the ministries of health, Ministry of Education. They are not addressing how is this whole thing affecting to the young people that are stuck at home. Also, a big thing is in general health protection and health in general, because current situation put high emphasis on, which is normal and expected. There's a huge emphasis on people with respiratory issues and people who might be or already suffering from who have a COVID virus. But we have numerous cases of people who needed different kind of treatment, but were either refused entry to the hospital or redirected to the other hospitals and stuff like that. And people are literally, even in the big cities, are lacking the basic health protection, which is something, that is maybe more focusing on the population in entirety. Something that is affecting young people, which consequences of which will be seen only in future, is the education system. We talked briefly before this, but just for the other ones, there was a strike in schools in Croatia in September, I think September and August, in September and October. And it lasted about a month. So already young students lost a month of school. And now with the situation where they are having school online, either on via television for like lower grades or via internet for high grades, it's really challenging what's going to happen, especially to those that are in their last years. So people who are finishing either primary school or high school, maybe who want to enroll to the university. And there is a huge problem. What kind of tests will they get? They couldn't normally study for last 2 months and probably won't in the next until the end of the school year. But also what's with their future? Especially a big problem is young people who just finished recently their studies, who are entering the labor market, which has probably never been in the worst situation. Even before this, it was hard to find a job. As a young person, you would usually get a low skill, low paid job regardless of your skill and education. But now it's probably going to be even worse for young people. And so far, there are not many measures or not many ideas that are addressing these specific issues. We do have measures that are addressing economic problems in general, but we believe that young people, especially young people without employment, without previous employment, people who are for the first time entering the labor market, they need different kind of support, different kind of measures for them. Because it's going to be incredibly hard to get a job and to keep it and to live out of it. Maybe just and to wrap it up, group that has been highly affected in this situation was students. There is a widespread in Croatia. There was a widespread student work. So there, it was encouraged. There were like special regulations that were regulating how students work, how they get paid, and everything. And it's something that a lot of students relied on, because most of the students study outside of the place where they usually live, because we have universities in just, I think, 7 cities. So most of the Croatians have to move to one of the bigger cities. And since most of the cities are on the coastline or Zagreb, or okay, maybe Varaždin, but most of the cities are more expensive than the cities that they're coming from. So you have to pay the rent, which is much higher than what you're maybe used to. You have to, of course, provide food and everything. And most of the students relied on a student job. Student jobs, which are now almost completely eradicated. There are no student jobs, but students still have obligations. They still have to study. They still have to finish their faculties. If they fail the years, they don't know will they be relieved from paying the repeating the year or something like that. So there's a whole specific problem that is affecting a lot the students as a group. But yeah, of course, I don't want to, I'm trying not to double down on what Bojan already said, because he mentioned also a lot of different key other groups in society that are especially affected and usually not seen, especially like homeless people or something like that. I'm just trying to maybe also add some other things. That's it for me. For now.
Nice, interesting. It's starting to be interesting. Okay, Anya. It seems from Macedonia. Today, I was watching twice the TV news, and twice the doctors said on the news, we are not Slovenia. So we have perspective from North Macedonia that Slovenia is super organized in this moment, super prepared. How is the situation with the young people in Slovenia?
Well, thank you as well from our side for the invitation, and it's really interesting to share these ideas with you, because unfortunately we have the same issues as Macedonia and Croatia. So there's many issues facing young people, and when we do the measures, we try to divide them into high school students, into students, young people that are working, and as well young people that already have their own families.
Just to give me one, sorry for cutting you. You already have proposals. You already have from your side measures for the young people. I'm sorry.
Yes, we have, because we've been sending that to the government already. But if I go back to the challenges, their challenges are different. The main challenge for all 4 groups is mental health and this insecurity, not really knowing what's going to happen afterwards. But then each group has specific challenges. They have different challenges. So high school students have issues not knowing how they will finish their school year. There's a big issue of the ones that are finishing high school. They have to do their final grading. We call that matura. And they know that they will have to do it, but they don't know how they will do it. Even the ministry doesn't know how that will happen. The only thing is that they know that they will have to do it in June probably. So it's very stressful, very, very frustrating for high school students, that, you know, this period is already very stressful without this situation. So this is the biggest issue for them. And then as well, students, same as Josip said, a lot of students rely on working as students. So they don't have any specific social protection. So they're now unemployed, basically. They don't have income. And the issue that happened as well for those that had to move and that had to go to students' housing, all these places got closed down. So these people had to return. And there was an issue, either people have a place to go somewhere, because, you know, it might happen that you are from a big family with not a lot of space, or that you don't get along with your family, or that you don't have any family. So basically there was a lot of students that kind of became homeless, you know, that was a major issue. And then when we talk about young people working, the ones that have precarious contracts, so the ones that don't have secure contracts, they don't know what's going to happen to them. They're not really sure if the measure that there are some measures coming in. We're probably going to talk about it later on. But still, you know, not knowing what's going to happen is the biggest issue now. Because if people would know that this will last a month, maybe 2 or 3, you know, you can prepare yourself. But if you don't know when this will end, I think that's the biggest issue. And then if we talk about young families, so there's a lot of student families. There's families that are studying, their parents are studying, and they're working as students. You know, so when you're in a situation that, you know, you cannot even provide for yourself, and then you have to provide for your children as well. So there's many situations, and unfortunately they're similar as in Croatia and Macedonia.
Nice. It's starting to be very, very interesting. It's interesting how you are. I'm taking notes while you are speaking. It's interesting how you are saying health protection, social protection, poor statistics, because nobody now is counting numbers. And maybe now is the time for counting because we are all at home. But however, it's overlapping. The key challenges are overlapping. It's interesting how Slovenia is because you divide it in different categories, and different categories are having different challenges, and they are of course interested for their problems mostly. But you as a national youth, all of you are part of, and you are part of the management in the national youth councils and or networks, whatever. I am seeing these bodies as the most representative bodies of the young people. And today also I was reading the resolution of European Parliament about measurements and for overcoming this crisis. And also the word young people, youth, is missing very much. So I will go out a little from the agreed agenda with you, and I want to ask you, is somebody speaking in our countries about the young people? Because I don't have feeling that I think that nobody is asking them, just the young people are sad, you should do this, and nothing. Even, you understand me? So can I ask you how much in this moment your, let's say, decision makers, not only governments, but also in local level, or I don't know, regions, depending on the country, are anybody is interested about the young people problems or issues, or I don't know, interests? Because I think the involvement of young people would be very, very fruitful in this moment. They are good in technology, they are fresh, they are full of energy and health. Nobody is even involving them, and they have super powerful skills. So how is the, let's say, youth wording in your countries? I will start with Josip.
Well, it's usually not present. I mean, we are kind of used to, for politicians to actually use the word youth a lot in at least their speeches. not so much in their actions. But now even that part is missing. There is almost, at least especially on the side of the economic, on the government's plan for economic recuperation and getting out of the crisis after the COVID and everything, there's almost no measures that are affecting or are directed at the young people. And those that are more directed actually to the employers for hiring young people, which is okay, but still we believe it's not enough. And yeah, as far as as far as I'm aware, there has been almost no cooperation or no invitation to participate in decision-making process or any kind of even some kind of commenting on some kind of proposals. But it's not just for the young people. We had a few weeks ago case where government had meetings with representatives of the Association of Employers and talking about what to do for the economic side, and they didn't invite union representatives, which kind of indicates of how are they trying to work out the problem. Mostly they are just the only experts they invite are the health and safety experts. But yeah, there is especially like we were expecting, at least regarding the school system and education. As far as we know, there has been almost none attempts to involve young people, but also representative of like teachers or something like that. It's just the decisions are made exclusively on the highest level.
Interesting. Okay, Bojan, I want to ask you your opinion. I already said how is the situation, but this is my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm listening some channels which are not youth-friendly channels. Or what do you think, Bojan, about youth friendliness during this crisis of our society?
No, you're not wrong at all. So it's my opinion. I am in the same line with Josip and even Biljana with you. So I think we are totally out for now. We don't receive any invitation for some meeting or for some opinion for something. Even I expect to ask someone else ask us for the education thing, because as you know, I will explain to Josip and Anya.
Okay, we are here or not? Anelia? Bojan is here.
He's here, but something happened. So most probably he has some technical issues.
Okay,
Maybe we can proceed with Anya.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry,
Okay.
it's my internet again. So, how I mentioned, we had huge issues with the online exams, and the students are very loud with the thing that they don't want to have exams online for a lot of things. But even for that, the Ministry for Education don't want, I don't know if they don't want to speak with us or they don't want to ask us for some opinion. I think we know what we want and the students know what they want for their own good. So I'll be short of this. We are out of the process and nobody asks us for nothing. If someone from some organization is here and I want to mention something, because I don't have information that someone is asked for something, I will ask you, Biljana, if someone asks you for, or your organization for something. But like National Youth Council, I think we are totally out. We have only our members, youth organizations who made some things, and we create now some document with our things for the disgrace. But from the government, from the ministers, no one, even from the chambers economic, no one asked us for nothing for now.
Look, Bojan, I will answer to you on the question like this. I'm really not caring about decision makers, really. But around 26th of March, I was speaking with one of the volunteers, one girl who is volunteering in Youth Alliance Crucial. She's high school. And while I was speaking with her, I understood how much she is fearing from everything what is happening now, not just because of her school, but in general. She demonstrated while I was speaking with her fear. And I understood that we should ask the young people. If nobody is asking them from the decision makers, then somebody must ask them. So, or somebody must, how to say, approach to them that they are now. And in that moment, we decided that we should talk, we should invite them on this kind of online discussions, because they should articulate they are not alone. They have same feelings, same challenges as we are speaking. So in this moment, we are asking the young people, that is our position, and we are what you want we to do together, how we to fill your time, free time, or what do you have problems with dealing with the school, or do you have problems with dealing with the student days, or do you have enough equipment, or this kind of questions. Every day we are working with our target group. So in this moment, nobody's asking us, but we are asking. So,
yeah, I was thinking about some other thing. I was speaking about the people who are in the government who put us all home to sit here with some things that they will think that we sit like the young people sit home like 2 hours and go outside 2 hours in a day, and it's like 2 for like 10-12 hours per week. It's enough. I speak for them. For us, we know how we work, and I will explain for that. But I was asking for the government and how in that situation we are out. If your question was if somebody from the government or from institution ask us for opinion, in that set we are out. Nobody asks us for anything. But in the other line, for the other things, I will say this later.
Okay, Anya, somebody asks you in Slovenia. Oh.
So, like Croatia had basically two crises, the earthquakes and Corona. We also have two crises now. We have the new government that started their work right when the coronavirus started. It was, I think, around the 13th of March, around that time. So basically, the first thing they did is they had to deal with this Corona issue. And with the previous government, of course, the situation was different, but they were, if not listening to us, they were at least asking us. So we had the opportunity to express what are the things we see, what are our challenges, opinions. With this one, actually, like we've been trying very hard to get to people. We've been trying to reach the ministry, and they agreed on the meeting, but this meeting would happen at the end of May, so it would be 3 new laws regarding Corona before that time. So it's not that they are saying no, it's just that they're not taking their time for us now. And that is important to ask us now, what is the situation, how we see things. And there's a lot of talks about students, because they came up with the measure that each student would get 150 euros for the whole period of the virus. If you're a student from Slovenia, so you have to be a Slovenian citizen, and you have to be a full-time student. And there's a Slovenian Students Organization, us, and many other organizations are saying that this is not enough. Usually all the calculations, when the young people or the students, in order to survive, need around 500 euros in Slovenia. So, to get a month, to get 150 euros for the whole period of the virus, it's, nothing. It is they can say that it is something, but it doesn't cover all the costs that the young people have. So
how I'm sorry, how they calculate? I'm really curious how they calculate 150 euros per student.
I don't know how they calculated that. One of the information is that we have students' coupons. So in a normal time, even now, you can use it to go and eat outside. So you can use 2 vouchers per day, and one for one, the state pays €2.60 something. So they calculated that the country would spend 150 euros in this period if young people would go out and eat. And because the restaurants are closed, they're not doing that. So basically, they're saying, oh, we're so good giving you 150 euros. But on the other hand, they're not actually giving us extra 150 euros. They're just giving us something they wouldn't spend on the students' coupons. So basically, students aren't getting anything. And even though we're not being asked, we still do a lot. So we try to engage, we call people, the ones that we know at the ministry, but they have a group of experts that are helping them with these measures. So it's really, really hard to influence that. And I can give an example of my rural youth organization. They are directly linked with the Ministry of Agriculture. So they're giving measures directly to the ministry. And so the ministry is listening, they're talking to them, but at the end, these measures don't get into the laws. So at the end, what's the point of, talking to them if they don't put these measures into laws? So there's, there are challenges on different levels. So first, to get them to listen to you, and then the second, to actually put those measures in place and create the laws.
Nice, but the action is here. You started with the action. Look like I'm smiling. Bravo. It's very good. So now I'm coming. We somehow smoothly came to the second point of our discussion, but I hope you will not mind if I ask that maybe somebody who is here with us have something to add, to ask, to comment, everything what you want. Even if you want to share with us that you feel sad or happy, it's okay. Just feel free to share with us. Maybe Anelia, somebody wants to ask something or to add something.
So far, no, but if you want to ask something, you can send it by chat and I can read the question, or you can raise the hand and then speak out, or you can just turn on your mic and talk.
I will give several seconds time for people to think. I hope people are following us. For me, it's interesting, but it's interesting because I don't know, I have the feeling that we should act like a region regarding the young people, but this is even harder. But let's talk step by step. So we will see. Maybe we will come to some element. Nobody still, Anelia? Huh?
Nope. No.
Okay. Let's go further with the discussion. So I will again start with the Bojan. Most probably because Bojan, we are hosts, therefore I'm starting with you to be good host of this evening party, let's say. Bojan, what the National Youth Council in Macedonia is doing regarding the key challenges of the young people, regarding nobody is asking you, but maybe you are trying to do something regarding representing of the problems, issues, and etc. of the young people. What are you doing in this moment as a National Youth Council?
Okay, we're gonna try to be better host in outside next time with beer and everything. So yeah, I think we know that one of the most important things in this situation is to have the right information. I think that the National Youth Council represents a bridge for sharing information between the institution and the young people. I think that the Corona crisis got us unprepared. All member organizations, students, or young people are still trying to organize, even me, trying to organize their lives according to the current situation. So first in time when the whole world lacks information for the virus itself in treatment, every day we are facing fake news. That's a very huge thing. And I think that's a very big challenge, even for us like young persons, but even for the National Youth Council. So how we work now, I want to mention three phases. We try to manage situation in three phases. The first one is completely new organization of the office, and establishing new work from home system for the employees of the Secretariat. So as you know, we have two offices. The one is the main office, the other one is Mladi Hub, space for open space for whole youth and whole youth organizations. So in the first time we try to make work from home system, and all the employees from the secretariat can work from home because of their security and safety. So after that, we go through online meetings with the member organizations. We have received information on local level, and we discuss the issues of the young people. So the challenges they faces and their needs. So we have people from the secretariat who is in charge with that, who speak with our member organizations, and we have received a lot of information still for what's happening in some other parts of the country. As you know, we have other local offices, and we have also 48 member organizations. So we're trying to speak with all of them and received information from the field. So the third part is why we are lating a little bit. It's because we're trying to put all capacities, even the board and the secretariat, in use of the member organizations. For now, we are using our online media, online channels for sharing information for the youth people, for the young people, and for the member organizations, even for events, webinars, online trainings, information for public, and some very other important information. The final purpose will be informing a huge percent of young people for our member organization activities, and also to share some useful information about the situation now, if it's something important for us, like young people. So in the end, I think the main role of the council this period will be, it should include the representation of all the young people from the country to be allowed and to speak to the government for our needs. Also to prepare how Anya said the documents and our paper for what we need to monitoring, and we monitoring the current situation. So in all spheres like unemployment, informing the mental health and health support, etc. So for my opinion, having the right information in the right time will be a real challenge in this time. So we are trying to be in charge of all member organization, all young people in the country. Yes, we are late a little bit, but we are still trying to reorganize first like persons, and then like that's for all of us. I think that we are trying to reorganize ourselves, and now I think we are preparing something for our organizations and the whole young people. I want to say special thanks for our member organizations who are very excellent, and they're part of National Youth Council, but they're also preparing together with us and with other organizations, preparing a great document now. And I think it will be in public very soon. So we're gonna have topics. We're gonna have a lot of topics and decisions about what we want and what we can what we will need in this period. So for now, that's it. We are creating new system of sharing information, and together with the member organizations, we are preparing the document, which will be something, I think, something similar like in Slovenia that we're gonna use like in the future.
Make online discussion, Bojan, for this document.
Yeah, still is in draft version, but I think it will be after that will be online, and we're gonna ask a lot of people about it for sure. Now it's still going with the topics, but it's gonna be for sure. It's gonna be transparent and gonna be online, and for all can put some efforts into it.
Okay, nice, interesting. I like how you defined that our role is representation of young people through monitoring of the situation. Very, very serious, let's say, definition of the what National Youth Council in Macedonia.
It's not definition, but it's, even my opinion, it's very important to just to look around what's happening, and to even to know how they decide for our future. So it's a very important thing for me. I think we must be prepared for very quick decisions if we need something else, because I think this period now is very important for a lot of topics, and from the education till the employment. So I think we even if we know in which situation our countries, we don't have time to lose it like young people.
Just to be more clear for me, I have just one quick question to Bojan. What kind of document and what kind of topics? Because you mentioned several times document and topics, but I'm not sure what it's.
Two organizations are starting this. It's their initiative. It's Reactor. I think Blažen is here. He can explain a little bit more. And MOF Youth Educational Forum. So now, like organizations, we have one Zoom meeting. So we speak about that. Also, Blažen is here. He can explain more about this. But
Okay.
it's transparent and it's gonna be online for everyone for sure.
Perfect. So all key stakeholders of representation of the young people who are monitoring the situation. Very interesting. I like the definition very much, Bojan.
No, it's not definition. It's just.
I'm joking.
Relax.
Come on, relax. I'm joking. It's interesting that you have a serious approach. So this is very good, very good. Josip, I feel very, very close to the heart, Croatian Youth Network. I really am close with a lot of people from Croatian Youth. This is personal. Don't Anya and Bojan. Yeah, so I love Marko. Yeah, I love a lot of people from there. We have history together, let's say. So usually Youth Alliance Crucial is learning from Croatian Youth Network. So what is the role of Croatian Youth Networks these days when the world is in crisis and the young people in Croatia are also in crisis?
Yeah, our history, both with you, but also with National Youth Council of North Macedonia, is is really long, and we worked great with even people before me. And on your side, I know, I don't know if Bojan knows, but if he asks, probably he'll get confirmation that we worked well with his predecessors. Yeah, Croatian Youth Network, we also kind of working on different fronts. So on one side, we have this part of advocating. So most of that we are not doing on our own. On one side, we are working with several other NGOs in general, not just youth organizations, but different representatives from civil society, and we are fighting for preservation and especially financial stability for the civil society, because our argument is that, especially even more now in the time of the crisis, we need the support that institutions cannot provide right now, and it's even more important to emphasize and to preserve the role the civil society has. And we also think and we advocate that there is a key and important role for the youth NGOs. Through the time, we were also keeping an active eye on the measures. So we were also part of some initiatives who were trying to warn where there were some measures that we thought were not so in the spirit of democracy and freedom. There were like some ideas from the government of some kind of tracking of people with mobile phones and stuff, like trying to prevent them from public gatherings or something, and we had problem with that. Also, right now on this topic of gathering evidence and gathering information. On one side, we are gathering it from our own member organizations. We have 59 member organizations, so we sent them questionnaires. We are communicating directly with some of them, and we are just trying to figure out how is it going for them, what are the biggest issues and challenges they have, especially to share if they have some good examples of what they're doing. We are trying to share a lot of information of, for example, what are current calls for proposals, what are current maybe online trainings and stuff like that. Just trying to be focal point to spread the information. all around for young people, individuals, but also for the youth organizations.
Mhm.
And when it comes to our, let's call it maybe day-to-day work, we are trying to figure out, and we're making plans on, how to transfer some of the things we planned online to some of the things we planned for physical meetings, trying to figure out if we can do these kind of trainings online, how to do it, who also trying to educate ourselves on. We know that online youth work is not a new thing, but for example, we are kind of used to working the old way, and it's also challenging for us to get used to all the different tricks and tips, how it is to work online, and how it is to hold a training for 10, 15 people online, stuff like that. But we also trying to gather some information. Specifically, we are planning to do series of questionnaires for young people on topic of mental health. From specifics, how is the current situation affecting, and do you recognize the effect the current situation is having on you, but also in general talk about the importance of mental health, talk about the perception of mental health. Is it still perceived as a issue? Are people still ashamed to talk about their mental health issues? Are they feeling pressure from the society and stuff like that? And yeah, we also have some interesting plans for some regional meetings or something. So far, it's mostly aimed at the other national youth councils, but we are hoping if that goes well, then maybe we can also expand it to other interested youth organizations from the region. And yeah, we also, it's a bit challenging to work from home, especially we couldn't go actually physically to our office because we had to wait for to see if the building was okay after the first earthquake and something like that. Luckily everything survived. There was no big damage to the equipment, so we now we can work properly from our home. And yeah, I think this is more or less the focus of what we're doing.
I like very much that you are in direct contact with the, let's say, members, online questionnaire. You are trying to gather information direct from your stakeholders, let's say.
Yep.
So it's very important to not be information that you are thinking, but to be evidence-based information. Let's say. Nice. Anya, not that I'm not in love with Slovenia, so it's not
Right.
several days ago we had high school discussion with high schools, and we had one girl from Slovenia she was representing, let's say, not representing, but she was part of the discussion. She was really positive really positive and really constructive. She was boosting the energy among the high schools. So most probably also the boost energy will come in this discussion from you. So tell us what is the
Maybe.
let's see. What is your role? What you are doing in Slovenia?
Yeah, so first of all, I would like to emphasize that without such a well-developed youth sector, we would have way more work. Luckily, the issues of mental health and how to approach young people using online tools and using online youth work, there's really a lot of youth organizations, youth centers, so everyone is doing their best to continue the work. A lot of them even improve their work. One of our youth center in Ljubljana opened probably more than 2 weeks ago, the first online youth center. So, there's been a lot of initiatives, and what we're trying to do is to, give them the support, give them the encouragement to continue doing this. And our work
Wait. I'm curious. What they're doing? Online youth center. Tell me what they are doing. Very interesting.
It's basically a space online when young people can join, come in, back and forth. So it's really interesting. And, you know, many ideas are coming up, and it's basically, you know, even though it's very negative, everything that is happening in this situation, but we've been talking about digital youth work for so long, and now we're finally putting this into practice. So there's something positive from our side as well that we can see now. But what we do as a youth council is, you know, gather inputs from our member organization, and then just, you know, we really try hard to reach the decision makers. We send around 2 to 3 different letters with already measures or topics that I have to cover within their new laws. We are putting things on our Facebook, tagging them, so tagging the government, tagging the ministries, the political parties that are now in the coalition. So we're really trying to do this advocacy side. We had a press conference online, so the media presented what are the opinions of young people. So this is basically our main work, and we also tried, so together with the Youth Network MAMA, which is the umbrella organization of youth centers, we created an online platform where youth organizations can meet and discuss this situation. So we're really trying to be supportive here and look on the bright side of life here, because, you know, the situation is here, so we kind of have to deal with it. And yeah, just, you know, being vocal, being present, I think that at this moment is the best that we can do. And we did put a lot of our events online. Just an example, together with the office in the government that is dealing with the Agenda 2030, we were planning on having this event physical, but because we had to cancel it, we did it online. So we're trying to move everything online, not to just cancel it, but to move it online where possible. And yeah, the work that we've been doing and other youth organizations have been doing are seen as positive. And then what it comes now that is going to be the biggest point, besides, you know, advocating for social protection and for all the rights of young people, is how to keep the financing of youth NGOs. That's going to be the biggest work, and that's something that we're trying to do now. So we are in the process of starting a campaign on what youth work, what youth sector is doing, and what are the outcomes of youth sector, and how this is important for the whole society, for the democracy, to show the decision makers that it is important also in this time to invest in youth work and in youth NGOs.
May I ask you something? I didn't want to cut you again. So you said that previously that you have sent the measurements to the decision makers, trying to reach them. How you created the measurements?
So we started firstly with just sending an email out to our member organization, and we had a Zoom call together, and each organization presented what they see as the biggest challenge. And then we came up with solutions together. So we basically, for example, one that was targeting students is, they were really specific, really short, really on point. We didn't go into developing laws because, you know, it's their work to develop laws, and it's our work to just tell them that they're doing it wrong or right. Is that, you know, just specifically that, for example, one thing that we're trying to present is that a lot of kids in school had their only healthy and warm meal in school. Now that they're home, either they, you know, their parents don't have money for proper meal, or their parents, they don't know how to cook. You know, it's been seen that mothers can only, I don't know, cook hot dogs or something like that. They're not ready to prepare a full meal for their kids. So one of the measures was that they should add, you know, for families, additional money to support this aspect of their lives. So we're trying to be as precise as possible, and we're trying to include everyone, you know, because, you know, the situation is different for everyone. So we try not to put everyone, or we try not to forget anyone. But what we are receiving is that, you know, yes, thank you. We will look at them and we will see if this could be added in or not. And then, you know, that's where our story usually ends. So at least there's the cool thing that the emails of our government gives you a reply automatically when they open the email. So at least we know that they opened it. And for us, it's like, okay, so you saw it, but you're not doing anything. So this is...
But also its conclusion, yes, also it's part of our work, let's say. For this question, I also have additional question. I'm sorry. Anelia, if we have questions from the people who are with us, just cut me, okay?
Okay, so far, no.
Okay, I read some comments, but it was really rare comments. Josip, I think that here, maybe I want to ask you, because somebody asked me around me who is not part of the civil society sector. My friends asked me, everybody is asking, they said to me from the state, everybody is going to the TV and saying, we need this, we need this, we need this kind of support. For example, my sister directly asked me, why nobody from your sector is asking something? Nobody is from the civil society sector asking. And when my sister asked me, I was sincere with her. The first element, what I said to her, I said, I don't know, I think it's shame now to ask something. The state is now dealing with really serious problem, health, public health, the health of the people. People are dying, and I don't believe that now it's our time to asking. So, what is your perception about now? We started to speak with Anya this kind of discussion. Civil society sector needs support, but I feel shame now to ask from our state, not because I how to say. I think that now we should be the humanity to be in the focus. You understand? So, what is your thinking about this? This is my personal opinion. It's not the Alliance Crucial opinion.
I mean, yeah, it's normal. It's completely, I would say, also healthy to keep these kind of reservations and to question these kind of things. And the way I see it personally is that I agree there is a fine line between and asking for something extra and asking for, especially in the civil society where unfortunately due to circumstances we depend a lot on the projects, and that is the fact. But the money from those projects, in 99% of the cases, at least that's what I like to believe, doesn't go to someone individual's pockets. We also employ people. We also pay health insurance. We also pay insurance, the pension insurance and stuff like that. And we also want, on the side of the supporting the economy, supporting the employers, in a way we are also employers as a youth organizations, as a national youth councils, as whoever. If you have people working there, we should also be, because we see at least in Croatia, it's every day they are discussing how to help economy, how to help employers keep their employees. But what we are seeing is that most of it is directed towards the private sector, and unfortunately there is a really small amount of regulation. And they're having similar like in United States, which is maybe something that maybe more of you have seen, that there is a incentive that employers get financial injection. They get money for preserving people on the job, but they get that money and they don't have to explain on what did they spend that money. So if they decide to reduce the wage for their worker, they will still get the full incentive. And this is something that we have problem with. Okay, it seems for us that you're just throwing the money in the economy and hoping something good will come out of it. And we want you to focus, to really to spend the money. Yes, you don't save in the time of the crisis, but also, you know, diversify it, enable different parts of society to have benefits from it, and not measure everything in, you know, how much physically are you outputting, because, you know, we are not factories, and that's okay, we don't need to be. But someone needs to provide different kind of services, and especially now when you cannot go outside, your social life is reduced to the watching TV and Skype calls or Zoom calls or whatever. Your education is in front of the TVs. People lack social contact, people lack support, people losing jobs. And these kind of times you need all this that now even more than before is provided mostly by the civil society. It is kind of sad that as a society that we have ended up relying so much on the on the civil society. Civil society is supposed to be just a little upgrade on the something that at least that's how I see it. That civil society had to be an upgrade on what the country or the state is already doing. But right now, in different areas, the civil society is actually replacing or doing the job that is supposed to be done by the state, and we feel that there should be at least some kind of compensation. They should take in consideration our position, and especially thinking about, not, I wouldn't even say it long term, it's maybe mid-term. You know, how are people going to feel like, how are people going to be mentally and physically in 6 months, in a year? And if you don't address it now, in 6 months or in a year, if everything goes well, and I keep my fingers crossed that a year from now,
Me too.
no one has this virus, but you will still have people living here and people facing the consequences of your inactions during the crisis.
Thank you very much. It is interesting approach, very, very interesting. Somebody to ask something. I am a very, very boring person, but I really, because next question is, are the young people involved in the creation of the solutions for these challenges? Do we have young people, Anelia? The point is, what's easier? We have question, Anelia?
Just 1 second. There is one hand.
Comment. It's comment. Okay, but can I ask you, Anelia, you to read the comment?
Yes,
because I'm...
yes, just 1 second. The point is what civil society organizations are asking money for. Many are doing so much and provide serious contribution on a volunteer basis, adapting activities to respond to the crisis and their target groups, but would be able to do even more if they had some money right. That kind of support is lacking. I would rather funds be provided by government to donor organization to civil society organization now, when they can seriously assist their target groups to cope with the situation and not give later.
Yeah, I mean, the way I understand this comment is exactly this. Like, it's better to invest now then, and to, you know, to stop a lot of the problems in their root, rather than you know, waiting for the crisis this to pass and then being hit from all the sides with consequences of not reacting. And then you will need, then everyone will realize, okay, we need civil society, but you know, who will be there to be part of that civil society? And you know, and also it would be in a way waste of money, because it's better to extend, take a certain amount and spread it around than just like take one moment and focus all the money on that.
Nice. I think we have additional question to Bojan, or I am from the phone, therefore I'm asking this. Nelia?
No, it's not a question. It's that, just 1 second.
Okay, we can
Is
continue.
that it's agreed kind of with what Bojan is saying. So Dragana is agreeing with what Bojan is saying. This was the comment. To Josip.
Okay. So we have Bojan, Josip, and Anja. Bojan is from North Macedonia. Josip is from Croatia. Anja is from Slovenia. And we are super company here together. Okay, let's go further. I think now is the most important question. For me, this is the most important question. Of course, the National Youth Councils should be in focus in this discussion, but you are representative bodies of the young people, let's say, in your countries. So now I will start from Anja, because they already have started to involve the young people in this solution, let's say, in this creation of the solutions. So are the young people, Anja, involved in the creation of solutions, which solutions for the challenges that were provoked of this crisis? Not only in your country, give me your general opinion and then go locally, regionally, nationally.
Okay, if we look at the aspect of the new laws, the new measures that are coming in from the governmental side, I would say no. But if young people are involved into finding the solutions or creating solutions for daily lives or how to solve any other situations, then I would say yes. They're very much in the, I would say, in the forefront of what's happening in the whole world. With new ideas popping up. Again, examples, the one that I know is there's so many. So for example, a lot of farmers lost their pets of where they sell their products. And there's been many young people that are not from the agriculture sector at all, providing online solutions, putting up online stores for farmers, things like that. Looking for ideas. There have been Facebook groups popping up for many solutions, many ideas. So the only one that is really not putting young people in the forefront is the government. But otherwise, everywhere else, I would say young people are the ones that are creating the change in the society today.
Why? For example, the economic bodies, let's say, are involved. I have the feeling in our country they are asked then why you think that the young people are excluded. I know that we are circling in the same discussion, but it's important to me to find some logic in this action of the government. Yes, they are now facing with strong challenge. I have understanding, but also part of the solutions and part of these solutions are tackling the young people. So why do you think that the government is excluding the young people?
I would say one, first point is because they think they know better. I would say that this would be one of the points that they think that young people don't need to be asked and that they know enough to create measures. And the second one, because basically young people are not the major contributor to the budget, I would say. It goes in line with money, because young people cannot really bribe anyone. Companies, big major companies can bribe someone. They can go to the minister, etc. We're gonna give you this much money, just put this measure in, la la la. Young people don't have this option or even will to do it. So I would say is that because they're not, because they don't have money. I would say that's the biggest issue, and because still we're not being taken serious, you know.
So when the in our country they started to cut the budgets from different kind of sectors, and one of the sectors is young people.
Well, it's the same. They're cutting money everywhere, and they're putting in this, you know, whole budget for solving the situation. I can still say that some of the measures are good. You know, we cannot really say that young people are not getting anything, because if they have employment contract, or if they have their own company, their own not if they're really 100% freelancers, but if they have their own companies, they're gonna get some money out of it, the same as anyone else. It's just that when these measures were created, you know, they were not really in line. No one was really thinking of young people as a demographic group. It was just, you know, you're there, you're gonna get something, because not because you're young, because you're part of another group, or because you're a worker, etc. So I would say, yeah, but when it comes to social changes and not in line with what's happening in the state, startups, NGOs, then young people are very active.
Nice. Bojan, are you here, Bojan?
Yeah.
I know that the answer will be no, and we are.
No this time. No this time.
But are the young people involved in the creation of solutions for this challenge?
You can find different types of ways for how you can be included in the process. So the last time I speak about the government thing, and that we are not in that decision part, but like individuals, like NGOs, like council, like we have chance, and there are a lot of people who speak loud about the ways of and things for them in the corona crisis. So there are a lot of suggestions from individuals and from the NGOs who are in the paper, who they can and they will, and they are sending to the government. So I'm thinking about this one from the morning. For the mountains, they cut the thing that now we can go to the mountains and climbing. So in the nature and the parks. So yeah, there was small initiative from young people and young persons who are mountains lovers, and they sent really good things about why it's good to be the mountains to be open. So I think, yeah, like individuals, like groups, like NGOs, like there are a lot of people who are included in different parts in this process.
Mm-hmm. So you think
I'm not thinking about that part with the institutions in the government. Is the same.
But why?
I will say the same like Anya. I think I don't know, to be honest, why, because I think it's very great and very, very excellent to ask the young people what is important for us and what we need, and what are our proposals for this crisis, because there are a lot of experts in the NGO sector and a lot of people who are very well educated. So I don't know, to be honest. I think that I don't know. I'm thinking now about how individual. Maybe it's the same thing like Anya said, that they don't think that we can. Then we can be very smarter than them, or I don't know why. There's not so big thing for asking someone for some proposal. It can be very, very effective for the situation, but in this situation I really don't know why. It's not like election process that we are in the opposite sides, and I understand when it's election everything is crazy and stuff like that, but now it's like global crisis, and every proposal and every suggestion will be okay if you ask someone. I don't know why, to be honest. I can't see why the government institution don't want to ask the youth sector.
Okay, I have an additional question for you, Bojan. What do you think about now I'm out of young people. I'm trying to find another solution. What do you think about the cross-sectorial collaboration between institutions, not institutions, even between the civil society sectors for, let's say, finding some, not solutions, proposals, or but different type of organizations, different type of stakeholders, are they cooperating between each other in order to find, let's say, in order to overcome the crisis together?
I think one part, yes. I have information that part of organizations just make some meetings and speak about something. I speaking not only for the youth sector. I speak about the whole NGO sector. I have information that a lot of organizations have meetings and speak about solutions. But I think, yeah, there's part who is speaking, who is making some proposals now, and part of them just sending some documents to the government. If we speak about cooperation between institutions themselves, I think it's 50-50. You know, I have experienced that cooperation is not so excellent in the past, and they have some misunderstanding between them. But now they must cooperate and
Yes.
these things, because it's not other way for finding solution for this, and they must be in charge of the citizens and work for us because we pay them. So I think now when I can see and I can hear, it's 50-50 again. This part of the institution who work like they must work, like health system, and the other parts, they work very hard in the finance part, because I know that it's not very easy to find solution and to help to everyone, because we only have first like a sector, then like citizens, even for the debt part for people who work in the companies and stuff like that. So yeah, I will say 50-50 part of the institution work together, part not, but we need more cooperation and more things to do together. So yeah, that's it. I think the NGO sector work together good, because like in the past, the sector was one of the biggest voices of the citizens. So I think yeah, this one which you are doing now with Anel, it's very huge thing. Now you're working with organization. This is one thing that you take from your time and take us all together here, and 20-30 more people here to speak. This one big step, like organization, like persons here. For this we speak about when we speak about cooperation. This is one part of how we must work together.
Thank you very much, Josip. I will not start with you. Are the young people involved in the creation of solutions? This we will answer. I'm very sure that we will answer. But if everything is perfect in our society, we are very happy in our society, we are living in our fantasy land, how you are imagining involvement of young people in the processes of creation of solutions during the crisis?
In an ideal world,
Yes.
it's no different than the time when it's not a crisis. And this is the thing that, I mean, this is also the answer to your question. If young people are not asked when there is no crisis, when you have all the time in the world to make a decision, it's kind of hard to expect that they're going to do it in the time of the crisis. And this is unfortunate reality. We are not used to asking young people, regardless of is there a crisis or not. And in an ideal world, young people will be asked in their school for their opinion, in their family, in their building, in their local municipality, in the regional municipality, region, in on the highest possible level. And it it will never make sense, and it will never work if you ignore all these other levels and just include young people exclusively on the law decision making level, because people then are not used to thinking that way, making decisions, participating. But if you ask them in the school, what do you want to change in your school? Are you satisfied with this? Or to include them, we were always talking about when we made educations for young students and their young student bodies in schools and their teachers or other people working with them. Always like, start with little things, like in everything in life. Start with the little things. Next time you wanna repaint the school, ask all the students in school which color. Next time you have some surplus of money, ask students, do you want another bathroom on the second level, or do you want to change the look of the geography classroom? And this kind of way, you start by, giving the notion to the young people, we care and we value your opinion. We want to hear it. And if it's, feasible, if it's manageable, we will do it. And if you do it, then you'll also uh, train, you will give inspiration for young people to get involved, but also you will teach older decision makers on every level that
Mhm.
there is a huge group that you can ask. And this is the like in ideal world, decision making process is the same regardless of if there is a crisis or there is not crisis.
Very nice. I like your. Now we are working in one project. That it's very. We have very similar approach. We are working now in one project about. It is called Youth Expression Project, and we are approaching like this. What is the voice of youth in their family? What is the voice of youth in their school? What is the voice of the young people in their in different languages? Because we are a lot of ethnicity in our country, so we are working on the same way in order what is the youth voice of youth in the media, and we found only bad news for the young people in the media. It was not crisis, but however, do you think it's possible now, this will be question for all of you. I will finish here and I will let the people to ask something or to add something, because I saw Jasmina Banja Lučkić is here. Anelia.
She is. Yes, she is.
And if Blažen is here, definitely they should be involved a little in the discussion. So, and let's finish not finish, but let's start the finish of the discussion with this. Do you think it is possible and to be young people involved during the crisis on better way? Now we are trying, we are struggling, we are trying to be involved, but do you think it's possible? Maybe we are asking too much. I don't know. I'm just challenging you know? And I'm inviting all people, people who are here with us to answer on this question, because maybe now we should be only stay home definition and that's it. Okay, whoever wants to start, democracies now. Anya, maybe you.
Yeah, I already have. I think she's pointing that I have my mic turned on still, so I can start. Yeah. Um, I'm I I'm gonna try to steal what Anya will say, because I think her vision of current involvement of young people is the best thing we can hope to achieve, or in that way. So I'm highly doubtful that we can do it the institutional way, through the institutions and through the classic framework of decision-making process. But I think in current situation, young people are probably best equipped to face a lot of the challenges we have. And I think a lot of young people, unfortunately, it's probably be those that are most capable, because it will be hard for us to provide support for others. But I think through positive examples and through groundbreaking stuff that young people are already doing in different sectors, especially their knowledge and expertise in the whole sector of online, whatever. Is it online, is it digital youth work, but also if it's like Anya was mentioning, setting up an online market for farmers, something like that. That young people will actually push themselves on. They will step up, step ahead, and then it will be on all of us to actually capitalize on that, to use this kind of uh, incentive, use this kind of momentum that will be created, that is being created by the young people, and to really try to use new kind of arguments to make everyone, especially decision makers, realize the value and potential of young people. Because I think it, unfortunately, we had to have this kind of crisis to make it more obvious what a great potential young people have. But I'm hoping at least that it will be worth it. I mean, it kind of sounds bad, but maybe like call it a silver lining, that some positive may come out of this for position and recognition of young people.
I was thinking there is new website in Macedonia. It's called Coronavirus, something like that. Coronavirus Macedonia, something like that.
It's an app. It's an app.
It's not for. There is website that is gathering all information for coronavirus. Something. It's not only application for notification about who is infected or not, but there is also website. And I was thinking, we together, I don't know, 2,000 young people to write on this website. We are here, you can involve us.
But it's an application, it's not a website. It's an app. You cannot add questions or something or to write to them. It's an online app that you download on your phone.
No, I'm speaking on another thing, Anelia. There is also a website for gathering information.
Just hijack it, you know.
Yes.
Organize hackathon and hijack it and take over.
They will listen us.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Blažen raised his hand.
Okay.
It's the first one who raised his hand.
No. I mean, Anya and Bojan can go, and then I'll go.
No, come on, Blažen. We want to hear you.
He wants to be the last to make the point.
I have a comment rather than a question. No, but I mean, listen, nobody will give you free space for measures or for whatever when it comes to the youth sector. You know, you have to fight for it, and one thing is gathering all the informations and actually propose things that are economically feasible, because I mean, sure, you can propose that there should be a universal minimum income for young people who lost their jobs or who worked on the black market or didn't have any contracts or so on and so on. But that would cost like 2.5 million euros per month in North Macedonia, at least. So in that sense, it's very important to be quite clever with the proposals that young people give and how we transmit them, because now you have the sense that everybody's expecting everything from governments, like, you know, all businesses suddenly became very important and don't have something to and have lost money. But in that sense, we have to be very clever as a youth sector. First thing is first, what can we offer as a youth sector? How can we help as young people to actually facilitate this crisis much easier? So one thing that, for instance, the Scouts did, which I think is pretty honorable, is trying to facilitate the processes in the supermarkets, because you have huge lines and people waiting for it and constantly being nervous about it. So it brings kind of a positive vibe to have Scouts there and trying to bring order to something that is basically a very nervous situation. So young people can diffuse a lot of times nervous situations, and let's see what we can do as organizations. What are our plans? Can we volunteer? Can we give something back to the community? The second part is, okay, the governments are kind of trying to figure out how much money they have. What will they do with that money? What is essential for them to actually support? So in that sense, I think we have to be very clever about it and ask only for what is really needed. So do we need new spaces for youth? Will there be any organizations that are going down because some projects got canceled or whatever? But this is something that we have to analyze a little bit on the long term. So this is not something you can just say, okay, let's do it, and then you have only like one organization who feels the negative aspects of this. So we have to be very how should I say, cautious when we give ideas to governments. And the third and last part probably is we have to kind of go outside of our bubble, because not everything is evolving about youth sector. Yes, we have to take care of ourselves. We have to talk with the donors and see how flexible they are. Can we keep up these projects? But the real question is, what do we want young people to feel? So when we talk about measures like, I don't know, better facilitation of the employment agency, because in North Macedonia you had the case that a lot of people who will lose their jobs or who already lost their jobs have to physically go to the employment agency and give their documents. So what can we do to make it more pragmatic for young people, easier to get, rather than just thinking about, okay, now let's give, I don't know, $1,200 to every citizen in the country. So we have to be very pragmatic and have the bigger picture in front of us, rather than just focus on the little things. And especially keep in mind that we have also vulnerable groups, like young people who don't have enough money in households that don't have enough money for proper meals or proper housing and stuff like that. So if the government can organize a state quarantine for people who are coming back from foreign countries, they can also give physical space and housing for people who don't actually have the opportunity to have a roof over their head. So I would say, let's keep it simple, fight our way so that governments cannot ignore us, and that is the only way we can do it. But make it pragmatic and be very, very clever and measure 3 times what the effects of the proposed measures would be. So that would be my take on the whole discussion. I probably repeat a lot of the things that the 3 presidents already said.
It's nice to have evening with the presidents. Anya, go ahead. Thank you, Blažen.
No, yeah, I would agree with Blažen. It's just that from a practical way, I'm gonna keep it very simple. So when you ask for, let's say, 2 candies, you might get 1. If you only ask for 1 candy, you might not get any candies. So sometimes you have to ask for more to at least get something. Even though I totally agree with Blažen, it is important that we are not pushing for things that are not as relevant as other things are. And we have to prioritize what we think is more important and sometimes back down a bit. But yeah, still in a perfect world where you can ask for something and then it might happen that you would get it, or it would happen that you would get it, you ask for what you actually need. But in this case, I think that we have to ask for more to at least get something.
Interesting approach.
There is
Not
another
one,
raised
2.
hand. Sorry, there is another raised hand. It's Elena. So maybe we can give her the floor first, because she's a very young person.
Yes. No, go, Elena. Come on. We are inclusive youth society here.
Well, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, first of all, hello to everyone. I hope that everyone is doing well, and their families and their loved ones are doing well. My approach to the measures that are given from the governments are only for survival. Like when the pandemic ends, then we'll deal with all the problems that are emerging throughout the pandemic. And that's also kind of a problem, because instead of investing into the youth, we are just excluding them into something that will happen in the future, some kind of future. Because I'm really I'm really doubtful that something will change in the future about the youth. One of the questions that I liked, I think Biljana mentioned, is anyone speaking of on the part of the youth. The only people who are speaking on part of the youth are the NGOs or organizations that are connected to the youth. And that's their kind of role, if I can say it like that, because we're shut down. Yeah, the only thing that the organizations that can provide, I think, or just like connect with the youth are these organizations. And maybe the government is excluding the youth because the rates or the percentage of the youth to get, you know, the coronavirus are very low, and maybe they're just like putting them aside and like, okay, they're safe, we can put them aside, let's see the potential ones, the elderly or the people who are more likely to get the coronavirus. The more you are, the speakers were talking, the more I could sense the Slovenian gap, if I can say it like that, because no matter how much Anya was saying that we are all the same and the measures are quite same, I could still feel the gap. So yeah. I have a couple questions that I would like to ask.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I think we touched it upon the first point in the discussion. That was the educational systems, how the youth are handling the educational system. Because in our country, the Ministry of Education just threw the measures of remote learning, which was devastating to the high school and students and everyone in the educational system, and the results are like very big nervous breakdown for everyone. That's the first question. The second one is kind of connected, because the technology that arises and the participation required to be you know, connected to technology, how youth are having tech security and access to technology also. And the third question that I have is kind of optimistic. What are your predictions on the active youth? Will we have, after the pandemic, after the crisis is over, will there be more active youth? That's all.
Yes, let's go. Boyan, are you here? Boyan. Boyan is not here?
Yeah, I'm here again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
finally.
here.
Did you listen?
I missed two questions. I missed the second and the third question, sorry.
Okay, and we will go with Anya. Anya inspired everyone. So let's go, Anya.
Yeah, can I just comment on back? I still think that it's not all as bad as it might seem sometimes. So yeah, we do have some things that are happening that are quite positive. So in educational system, yeah, no one really knows what's going to happen. So this is a point where young people in Slovenia are being very active, very vocal about it. So they're sharing their ideas on how things should be done, and it brings up so many challenges and so many issues, because it then can go to the second question. So the access to the technology that needs to be used in order to do all the work you have to do online, and everything that your teachers, professors demand from you, and then how safe the systems that we're using are. So it's still very unknown what's going to happen. But I would say that we have some very, very, very creative professors and teachers that are really, you know, bringing a whole new aspect of online learning, and it's actually impressive to see that you can use the simplest tool as, I don't know, Google Form, and you can get an exam out of it, or that you use Viber to have your oral exams or things like that. So there's so many ideas popping up but yeah, no one really knows how this will affect the future, basically. Um, I would, yeah, I think I would like to take more time on the prediction if young people are going to be active. I'm very, sadly, I'm quite skeptical. I think they're going to be active in a way of trying to provide for themselves, you know, trying to do something for them. But in terms of being active as part of the society and in the civil sector, and as you know, the voice of their generation, etc. I'm kind of skeptical that this period, without really pushing them to do something now, it will kind of put them in a mood that actually they can survive without doing certain things. Because what we're trying to do with my other organization is to be as active in this time as possible and to engage young people, our members, so we don't lose them. Because you know, if they realize that, okay, I can survive without doing so many NGO things, then you know, I can survive without them. So we have to be very cautious, and we have to put a lot of effort in to keep them engaged and to motivate them and to show them that it is important that they're active.
Bravo, Anya.
If
Thank
I
you.
answered everything.
It's very nice. Maybe Josip wants something to add. Also, Bojan, if you want something to add, open floor for all of you.
I'll try to be short because I already talked a lot, so so
Mhm.
Boyan can also get an opportunity. Yeah, regarding schools, it's a really big issue, and the biggest problem is the unknown factor, because no one knows how are they going to work out, especially for the students and pupils that are in their last year, the last year of primary school, last year of high school, and it's a huge issue. Today, our prime minister announced that starting I think next week or something like that, they are going to reduce the intensity of some measurements. And they said that in mid-May, they are planning to reopen kindergartens and primary schools, but it won't be obligatory for students to attend. So parents can choose, do they want to send students to school, which is uh, on one side it makes complete sense. On the other side, it creates a really strange situation, because what will happen with students that are still at home? So will you have two parallel system, one physical in the school and the other one online? What's going to happen, and how is it solved, worked out right now for students with who need extra attention, who need maybe one-on-one teaching, students with disabilities in learning or stuff like that. So there is a huge issue that unfortunately the consequences of which will only be seen in the future. And yeah, a lot of people already talking about this current generation. They're like some kind of semi jokes that like the best thing probably would be to ignore this whole school year and just repeat it next year, because like I
Come
mentioned in the
on.
beginning, like I mentioned in the beginning, because of the strike and everything, almost half of the school year students in Croatia weren't in the schools, and it's a huge a gap that people will have in a whole year. And yeah, it's also the teaching online created a lot of issues. A lot of the teachers weren't ready for it, didn't have time to prepare for it. uh, People are used to, you know, addressing some problems, issues to the classroom, and then getting some kind of response and to build on that. And it's really hard, or sometimes even impossible, to do it online. And yeah, I think especially teachers are working 10 times harder right now than they're usually working. And yeah, and the big problem is that a lot of it goes unnoticed. And yeah, when it comes to the will the youth be active in the future, I mean, I I really, I'm not sure. I'm somewhere between. I can understand both the optimistic arguments and the pessimistic. I think the issue might be they will be active in a different way. I think the current situation um, doesn't, at least to me, doesn't highlight the doesn't highlight the need for young people to get involved politically. And I don't see how young people coming out of this crisis will want to get involved in the elections, in the civil society, in the political parties, in whatever kind of way, because we as a society are not creating enough of opportunity or incentives to get involved in that way. So if young people do get more active after this, I think it will just be in a different kind of way. I think young people will be much more something on to come up on what Anya was saying. I think they might be more innovative in a ways. I think more things might start from the young people, but I'm not 100% sure that a lot of those things will actually. I think that a lot of those things won't be so much inclusive, so much widespread. I think, unfortunately, this situation is putting much more focus on self-preservation and thinking about me rather than thinking about us. I'm really hoping that that I'm completely wrong, and I will be really glad if someone shows me this video in 2 years and says, "Look how stupid and wrong were you." I'll be the happiest person. So
We
let's
will
hope for that
announce
one.
the video, so we will announce.
Yeah,
We'll keep
just
it. Yeah.
keep the link so we'll see in a year or two who was right, who was wrong.
Oh, Josip, you know how much long I'm working in new integration processes of North Macedonia. Now North Macedonia then. So the videos from 2003 are not very positive in 2020, but let's see. Bojan, maybe now you can
Yeah.
if you are here.
Yeah. Thank you, Elena, for writing the questions. So the first one, we know how was our educational system before coronavirus and when it was physically, and it was not selection. Now you know how hard it is when it's gonna be online. When I mentioned the student, they speak a lot about how they are against the online exams. How many students don't have opportunity to have computers home or technical support for to have online sessions and online exams. In the other part, it's the same problem with the high schools. I speak with a lot of teachers in the high schools. So they have said that there are few schools which are great in these online sessions, but there are a huge percent, something around 60-70% of schools who just miss the online classes. It's the same problem with the kids inside. Part of them maybe they don't have really even money for buying technical things or for computers, anything for visiting online sessions. The other part is the preparation period for the schools. I think we are not so very prepared in that for the digital thing. Even in the schools, they don't have really good equipment for everything. Now at home, it's very hard. In the other side, the Ministry for Education is not, at least for nothing, prepared for this situation. We don't still have answer for what's going to happen with, I don't know the real translation in English for Matura and the final exam for the high school kids. And we don't have still answer what's going to happen with them, even with the new year, beginning of the new school year. So I think we're in some kind of labyrinth what's going to happen in the circle, what's going to happen with this generation now. I understand that there are huge fear from the people, from the kids who are in the last year in the high schools. They don't know nothing. They don't know if they even be or have exams. There are few words from some political parties that's not excellent, that you can hear the first thing from the political parties. Part of them just said that it's gonna be exam final, but we're gonna have exam for the university. That said something else. So the real problem is gonna happen with the kids, and they don't know what will we need in the future. So we are letting first like the system there, like a country, and then like the ministry for the education. It's very sad that we have situation with no answers, and for that the digitalization is very important thing. But for us, we are still step back. We first must prepare the system for the digitalization, because yeah, maybe it's easy to find money. Maybe it's easy. I don't know. I think it's easy to find money for digitalization and to prepare softwares and stuff like that, and to prepare the schools. But first, we need normal and modern schools everywhere, not only in the capital. I know a lot of schools who don't have normal equipment, only for sitting and for sitting there in the classroom. So yeah, we need for normal standards for infrastructure. Then I'm very sad that we are maybe 10 steps back from the other countries, but we need first normal infrastructure, then we can speak digitalization. But in this moment, it's very most important thing for the country and for the ministry to give answer to the kids what's going to happen now with this generation and what's going to happen with the students, because part of the process is still going with online exams. But I think the students are right, and I think like the council, we support them, and we think the university must hear their voices and what they think about that. The youth will be more active or not, I think for sure. For one thing, we all gonna go through this more creative. From the past, we learn a lot of things. Now we learn how to live in online world. But I'm optimistic in this part. I think that always we must fight, and we are in the youth sector only for that, to fight for more activists, to fight for more opportunities for the youth. So I think we must work with that. It's going to be hard, like Josip and I mentioned before. It's going to be very hard, but I think we must fight for that, and we must. For that, I was laughing in Biljana saying for monitoring things. It's very important to be part and to see what's going to happen. Because now in this situation, when we're going to be measures and we're going to have economic problems, and I know that it's going to be a lot of problems with the mental health in the future. I think it's very important now to be in some kind, to be in help to the country, because we always want to give the country to give us something, but we must now give the country something back. It's very important thing, because for that we're activists, and it's our region, it's our country, so we must give the best of us, like Blažej mentions. There are different ways of how we can help. In the part for I want to go one step back, and part of it's a shame for us for the money. It's very interesting that in 50%, yeah, it's shame for us now for the help, but on the other hand, it's my personal opinion. So if I go in jail in the next 5 hours, you will know for what. When we have political parties who don't want to leave their money from the budget and don't want to leave the money in the health system, I think that we have huge problem now for the future and for now. So I will go again back. Yes, the first thing now is to have more solidarity. First in the sector, first the end in ourselves, and after that to put with the finger who is the bad guy, who's the good guy, because we are all in the same thing. And I think that in the end we must go together through this. And my message will be that we must find the ways for contacting each other, to help each other, and to be more solidarity to each other, and to help the country. It will be the end, to help the country in the ways how we know the best. So this is maybe the best way that we're doing, because we have people like Biljana, how Anelia, how all of us here who have time and who want to make some changes in the society.
Do you think that I have time? I have 3 reports till I don't.
Yeah, but
I don't have time, but for me, it's more important to be with the young people in this moment.
yeah, but we are together in the anti situation. Old people who have papers and who have a job, and people who don't have job. So I think that yeah, for the last question, I want to have more activists in the end of this, but I think we're gonna be more creative, and we're gonna find more creative ways to be more actively in the field.
Okay, thank you very much, Bojan. Anelia, final ask, maybe we have some more question, because I don't want somebody to be cut from the discussion, because we are
No.
speaking 2 hours, okay?
No, we don't have, but I would like to add something. Personally, that on the question of Elena, first of all, thank you for your questions. I think that they were very, very good. Whether will be more active young people, I think there will be more active young people as if we as NGOs, youth councils, networks, formal, non-formal, provide something to the young people. So now it's our role not maybe to beg and to blame the government for not supporting us enough, but to do something. It's time for action, and maybe we are talking too much and not doing a lot of things. So this will be my suggestion or my
appeal.
opinion.
So on this way, I want to close the discussion. We are talking 2 hours and 4 minutes exactly, and it was for me was really, really, let's say, fruitful. I am feeling, Anelia, that we are doing something. Yes, we are talking, but in this moment, I think I met Elena with this meeting. Elena, you are welcome to Youth Alliance Kruševo, and for the next meeting with these guys these people from Croatia, from Slovenia, and I'm very sure that in National Youth Council in Macedonia, they want to see you inside these councils. So I am happy that Elena, not Elena, all people with us, but I'm taking her like example. What will be my final statement, and before I go to thanks to anyone, that I really, really want to see in the next very 2 weeks, in the next 10 days, some kind of networking between national youth councils in the region, because I think that you are the bodies who can move the things. Yes, I know now that you are focusing on national level, what you can do on national issues, but you know that the things are connected in our region, and let's not make this social distancing we to forgot with whom we are living in this region. Not forgot, but I think that with the regional approach, maybe we can find together much more solutions. At least we can be solidar between each other. This will be my final appeal and wish, let's say wish. And I want to thank to all people who are with us this evening. I feel that we did good discussion. I have this kind of feeling. Tomorrow I will listen again for a new conclusion. Thanks Josip, thanks Anya, thanks Bojan. It was pleasure for us, and we will do this kind of activities a lot in the next let's say period. This depends from the young people who are engaged around us. They are asking us, we are doing what they are asking, and you will be invited again. I feel still I'm not tired, so it's nice that you were here.
Thank you very much for the invitation and for the opportunity to talk and to engage. I would agree it was really interesting to see that we are facing similar challenges, but also to hear different perceptions and also some different proposals for solutions or some incentives, different ways of thinking. And yeah, I think it was really useful for all of us. So thank you once again.
Mm-hmm.
Same from our side. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you from here.
Okay. Super.
I had to say thank you. Thank you for all, and we learn a lot of things from each other. So I think we can start working till the morning, and we can start in the morning to work with these proposals. I heard excellent things, and we can start with great cooperation again.
Okay, have a nice evening, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Samo ние сме останати. Чекај, добро. Андреј, ќе треба да сечаш очигледно, пошто уште не стиснат стоп.